Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to my channel for another Hot Toys DC 1/6 scale figure unboxing and review. Now today we are taking a look at both Batman in his Sonar suit and Robin from Batman Forever. I thought to myself, who the heck is picking up just one of these guys? More than likely you're gonna grab a pair. Hence, let's review them both in the same video. Now I got mine from toyswonderland.com. Link for that is in the description below. They do have installment plans and a reward system. While you're down there, why not hit that subscribe, bell notification icon and join button so you're notified as soon as a brand new review goes live on the channel. As for the box art, it's very Batman Forever, but I'm here for it. Now, I may be dating myself just a little, but when I was a young lad, this was my Batman movie. I owned it on VHS and I watched it so many times I wore out the darn tape. So when Hot Toys announced this guy and Robin, immediately I was all in. There are few things that can sell toys as much as nostalgia can. On one side, we do have an image of the figure himself, meaning Hot Toys is proud of their work, as they should be. On the side, Batman's Sonar suit, and on the back, all of the warnings and legal info. Now, if we slide off the top cover, we do get a sneak preview with an open window, but as you all know, I'm going to say it, it's catchphrase time. We're not here for sneak previews, we're here to review this figure, and also Robin. Now, I was kind of hoping Hot Toys would surprise us with some kind of Toy Fair exclusive announcement for a Val Kilmer Bruce Wayne, or even the Panther suit. I know that one is a fan favorite. I would absolutely grab that suit as well. First in-hand impressions are, damn, this cape is really hard to take out of the packaging. The suit itself, though, is very pretty. Now, we do still have one more figure to unbox. And that's, of course, the Robin. Oh, I'm sorry, Robin. Now, I don't know why Hot Toys always insist on threading the capes through the clam tray. It makes this whole process just a little bit more tricky. On Robin's box, we do have an image of the figure once again. On the side, Robin. I dig the yellow and black color scheme. Then on the back, once again, warnings and legal info. Now, honestly, I don't know how many people would just pick up Robin. If you are interested in only the Chris O'Donnell Robin figure, let me know why down below. I'm pretty curious. Maybe you want to do some kind of custom, or maybe this is going to be your Robin in another collection. Could this guy go with maybe an Arkham display? Potentially. This suit is very comic booky. And just like Batman, first impressions are, damn, this suit is stunning. And it is a little bit interesting at the same time. More on that a little bit later. What we are going to do now, though, is get all of their accessories, both the Batman and Robin, laid out in the light box and take a closer look at everything they come with. I have gone ahead and placed all of Batman's accessories on the left side and all of Robin's, as few as there are, on the other. Starting off with the display bases, they're both identical, except one says Batman, and the other, you guessed it, it says Robin. Up top, we have the Batman Forever logo sculpted in. It's a raised 3D thing. Will that be a challenge for getting him to stand on the base? Well, I certainly hope not, but it's definitely possible. One thing that will make it more difficult, though, is the high gloss surface. It's really shiny, which means their boots could potentially slip around when you're trying to get to posing. Up front, we do have these little things. Now, if you're wondering, oh, does this have lights? Actually, no. Back in the day with the '89 Batman, we did have lights. They were also a little bit more yellow. Now, you could pop the batteries in and flick the switch, but nowadays, Hot Toys retains these things, but not the light up function, and I'm not sure why. The battery compartment is fully sealed, and there's no switch. It used to be there. Up top, though, we do have a regular crotch grabber. Poor Robin, he clearly got the short end of the stick when it comes to accessories, but maybe not when it comes to other things. He one-ups Batman in another area. Now, he does come with 4 additional hands, and I like the sculpting. There's some wrinkling, there's some ribbing, and some stitch work, they look like gloves. All is not lost though. Batman comes with more than enough accessories for the both of them. There's no way known he can hold all of this stuff, so you may as well give some of it to the boy Wonder. He does have some hands specifically molded to hold certain accessories, but even then, the sculpt work and the finish, it matches Robin's gloves, so the hands, they're interchangeable as well. You do get two different versions of the Sonar Batarang from the end of the movie, and this is quite clearly a product of the 90s. What do I mean by saying that? Well, it's super stylized and very blingy. There's this metallic flake on the surface, it's very shiny and a little bit prickly, so please be careful. You get one folded out version and one stowed away. This is the largest of Batman's accessories, but if you're wondering what the hell this is, I was as well. It's been ages since I watched Batman Forever, you'll have to forgive me. I quite literally had to Google this, and it turns out this is the gadget he used underwater, which does make sense because it's got some mini propellers painted in metallic purple. Now they don't spin, nothing on this moves, but it's quite large and very eye-catching because it has that same level of bling just like the Batarang, quite shiny and metallic. Once again, he does come with a hand specifically sculpted to hold it. Now, I was very worried when I was trying to slot this on this accessory because that little post is tiny. Maybe, just maybe, heat up the hand first and then slide it on, because otherwise you might break that little post. What's Batman without a good grappling gun? Of course he has to come with one, and he does. This one is also quite stylized. Instead of being handheld, it snaps over his gauntlet. Now you can remove this very small but super chromy Batarang style hook and replace it with this cable. Now this is supposed to be a fully extended line, and luckily it's made of metal. But it's not posable. I would have loved to have seen a posable wire here, but I guess in the display, this gets the job done. This is a weird one, but I'm pretty sure it's some kind of cutter. I did try and look this up, but what the hell do you search? I looked for Batman Forever gadgets, and there were a metric ton of them. The only reference I could find for this was concept art. So was it in the actual movie? Let me know down below. This top piece can spin, hence why I think it's a saw or cutter of some kind. Then down below, the handle is at an angle, meaning he kinda holds it like this, with the blade resting on the top of his glove. I know we've seen swap out eyes before, but never quite like this. Hot Toys, this time they've been very clever. We do have the swap out glossy lenses and a tool that comes included to help you swap them out, but down below there's a little post. That's because the stock eyes, they're posable. Yeah, you heard that right. We can take out the posable eyes and swap them with the lenses. I've never seen that before, but Hot Toys, going forward, if you do have characters with swap out lenses, please do this again. And lastly, Batman comes with his own array of hands. Of course he does. Did you expect anything less? The sculpt work is good, they look like gloves, but these are my favorite of the bunch because they're specifically sculpted for the belt holding pose. Hot Toys, thank you. You all quite clearly know the way to a Batman Forever fan's heart. What we are going to do now though is get the Caped Crusaders themselves out here. Standing straight up and down in the light box, no crazy poses or accessories or anything like that. Let's start off with Batman first. Now I can't quite put my finger on how this guy is making me feel, but it's just that, it's a feeling, it's an emotional reaction. I kind of feel like I'm a kid again. That sense of awe and wonder, it kind of overtakes the logic part of the brain. Yes, this suit isn't practical, it's goofy as hell, it's very seamless, and it's all rubber. But there's a coolness to it. There's the sculpted musculature, and the finish is gorgeous. It's metallic, there's a flake to it, it's shiny, and there's a subtle hint of an ice blue. Now, the likeness, even from a distance, I think, is undeniably Val Kilmer. Alright, Justin, we know Batman is cool, but what about Robin? Does the boy Wonder also trigger the same kind of emotional response? For me, he does. Will he for you? I don't know. Let me know down below. All of the good stuff I just said about Batman, it can be copy and pasted onto Robin. I love the outfit, the color, the finish, the sculpted musculature, plus the head sculpt is Chris O'Donnell through and through. But one of my favorite things is the realism. What the hell do I mean by that? Well, there's no seams, they're completely seamless. No neck connectors, no elbow joints, no knee joints, not even visible wrist pegs or a split cut boot design. Will that impact articulation? Oh, you bet it will. But does it pay off in having a very real looking set of figures? I think it does. Up close and personal, kicking things off with the cowl first. Now, when I say that this suit was always destined to be a toy, I mean it quite literally. Back in the day when Batman 89 and Returns came out, the merchandising, it went crazy. So for the subsequent films, Warner Brothers decided, let's double down on the toyetic aesthetic. So that's what they did, and it worked. This guy is stunning. Say what you will about the film and the suit on screen, but in 1/6 scale, oh, it gets the job done. I like his stylized pointy rubber ears, there's a ton of detail on the cowl, and the finish is something else. It's metallic, there's a flake to it, there's a subtle blue tinge, and when the light hits it, it looks ethereal. Plus the icing on the cake, the likeness to Val Kilmer, it looks just like him. This cowl does have a party piece though, it's the moving eyes and the swap out Sonar lenses. Because after all, this is the Sonar suit. Its whole raison d'etre, reason for being, is the Sonar functionality. Now I do like the huge lenses and the fact that even though they do swap out, we still have moving eyes. I would suggest if you do want to pose the eyes, take this piece out, pose the eyes, then pop it back in. Cause when you try and stick the little tool in there to move the eyes, you have to fight with this piece and the cowl opening. It's not all that easy to do. I haven't quite decided as of yet if I'm going with eyes or lenses. Let me know which option you prefer. Normally, the number one thing that Hot Toys always screw up on their Batman figures is the cape. But luckily this time, I don't think they did. I dig this one. It's a nice heavy-duty fabric with this screen-printed grain on the surface. It's subtle, but when the light hits it, it's absolutely there. It drapes very naturally, we've got the points down below, and there is a lot of it. Now, around the front, it does sit over the shoulders like it did in the movie. There are some cape clips, but they're not functional. The cape itself is actually glued up inside the cowl, so if you did want to swap it, it might be a little bit more tricky. Let's be honest though, the real star of the show is the suit itself. Back around the front, there is so much to look at. There's musculature, muscle groups, there's tech details and ribbing. As I said, there's a lot here. I also love the finish. Just like the cowl, it's slightly metallic and very glossy, so when the light hits it, it looks almost otherworldly. There is a lot of contrast going on, black for the gauntlets with the stitching and wrinkling sculpted in, kind of to make it look like leather, but it isn't. And some bright silver for the gauntlet spikes. Now I do dig that there's some wrinkling sculpted into the elbows, it makes the suit look a little bit more natural. Speaking of natural though, some people have complained about this, the bunching. I don't know what to tell you because in real life when Val was wearing the suit on screen and he moved his arms, there was bunching too. This is a thick rubbery suit over a plastic body, so it's bound to happen. If you don't want to see the bunching, this is a cop-out answer. I'm going to cop a lot of flack for this, but don't pose the arms. Have him in a museum pose. He looks a lot more real. Around the back, there's some more musculature sculpted in, but you all know the real reason why we're back here, the gratuitous booty shot, cause in the movie, oh, it happened. Now the belt is a free-floating piece, and you can see a seam. But luckily, you can slide the belt up and hide the seam entirely. The reason why it's there is because they had to assemble this thing somehow, and having seams down the side or down the back would be a lot worse. Having this one that can be easily hidden is the way to go. At least I think it is, because from the front it's completely invisible. Now yes, if you pull the belt down it becomes visible, but for me, I'm going to keep it on that seam. Now I do dig the gold for the bat symbol. It's a nice pop of colour on an otherwise very gunmetal / blue metallic suit. For the legs, more muscle pods and more vents and tech details. Then coming down to the boots, I like the sculpt, but they're one solid hunk of plastic. That unfortunately means no split cut boot design and pretty much no articulation. There's some wrinkling and stitching sculpted in, just like those gauntlets up above. Then underneath, some sculpted but very simple tread. Going with the Sonar suit was a very good choice by Hot Toys because they avoided one issue. The visible bat nips. Now, back in the day when they designed these costumes, they went for the ripped nip aesthetic because apparently they were going for the gladiator look and feel from the days of old. But I don't think it translated super well because this is very memeable. The second most memeable thing though is his quarter-scale crotch, hence why earlier I called him Throbbin. Now I don't know why this is so big, they could have toned it down, but apparently Chris O'Donnell told the costume designers to make it bigger. So I guess this is accurate to the movie, although it is an eyesore. Speaking of something that's not an eyesore though, his head sculpt is incredible. This is 100% Chris O'Donnell. The likeness is there from every angle, the skin texture is masterfully done, both in terms of paint and sculpt, and I dig the hair. It's subtle, but there's some texture through it. It looks like hair. The mask is big and chunky, just like the movie. Unfortunately, you can't pose the eyes. It would have been really simple to do. If only you could remove the mask, pose the eyes and pop it back in, but they didn't think to get that done. Cape time, how does it compare to The Dark Knight? Well, it's not as good. It's not terrible, but it is made of pleather. There are multiple panels stitched together, making for some decent detail. We also have some wires along the bottom and the edge, plus the collar. I am trying my best to make this collar look good, but it likes to ride a little bit high. I don't know if they could have done something to get it to sit down and give us a little bit more of a visible neck, because as it stands, it throws off the proportions just a little. I do appreciate the pop of yellow on the inside of the cape, but compared to the rest of the suit, quite surprisingly, this is the dingiest and darkest thing here. Normally, with modern day superhero costumes, I'd be saying, ooh, I love that splash of color. But the entire suit is a splash of color. The red is very saturated, super metallic, and the light bounces off it beautifully, just like Batman. We also have some pops of gold for the logo and the various little straps, and of course, his utility belt. How utilitarian is the belt? Well, not very. I can't see any pouches or various little pieces that would store any accessories. Maybe that's why he doesn't come with any. He also has the contrast with the black gauntlets on the colourful suit, and his spikies are even spikier than the Dark Knight. Now, luckily they're a rubbery plastic, so fingers crossed they shouldn't break off. Do be careful though when it comes to posing, I've already spiked myself. Shield your eyes everyone, I am so sorry, we have to focus on the elephant in the room for just 1 second. Now with Batman, his suit was 2 pieces of rubber glued together under the belt. With Robin, they didn't do that. They were actually very clever. They used this color separation to their advantage. This red piece is a rubbery overlay, whereas the pants, they're separate. Meaning the quarter-scale crotch is glued down below. Fingers crossed it stays that way, because if you get a little bit crazy with your posing and it springs off, it could take your eye out. Now his pants are green just like the arms, but there's a little bit more to it. When the light hits it, there's almost a blue sheen, so it adds another dimension entirely. There's some musculature sculpted in front and of course some wrinkling around the back. Then for the boots, they're black just like the gauntlets. You do have this Nightbird symbol up top, plus another one for the belt, and a Robin logo up top, and another on his mask. This guy has his logo game on point. Once again, just like the Dark Knight though, there is no split-cut boot design. Plus, his boots are very, very slim. I did look at some reference material, and to me, they look fairly accurate. For a quick side-by-side comparison, here we have the dynamic duo. I kinda feel like I've been transported back in time. I had to check my watch and make sure it wasn't 1995. That man is taller than Robin, as he should be. In the movie, Chris O'Donnell played a young whippersnapper in the form of Richard Grayson, the boy wonder, so being a bit shorter, it works for me. Plus, their costumes, they play off each other beautifully. Batman is this kind of bluish gunmetal metallic finish, whereas Robin, he brings all the color. Meaning, in the display, they're both going to pop for different reasons. This is where we have to suspend our disbelief, because believe it or not, these are supposed to be the same dude. Now, Batman Forever was a sequel to Batman Returns, but Michael Keaton, he didn't return. He was replaced with Val Kilmer. Val is taller, but I don't know if he's taller by this margin. The Sonar suit is huge. So could you display the DX Batman from '89 alongside Sonar suit? Maybe, but you'd have to play with the levels so it doesn't look goofy. For those who are picking up Robin to display him alongside '89 Batman because you prefer Michael Keaton or just straight up prefer this suit, well, unfortunately it's kinda no bueno. Robin is taller than the Dark Knight, and I don't really like that. I prefer Batman to be the taller of the two. Luckily, his ears do give him a little bit of added height, but I don't think that's fooling anyone. Robin is still taller. If you're sitting there thinking, okay, Batman and Robin, they're cool, but where's the colourful rogues gallery? We want Jim Carrey as Riddler and Tommy Lee Jones as Two-Face. Unfortunately, it seems Hot Toys, they're just not interested. They announced Batman and Robin ages ago, and that's it, radio silence, nothing else from the movie. Luckily, Zensation made a Riddler and Two-Face back in the day, but they're not very good. So I am hoping another third-party company will come out of the woodworks and make 2.0s of both villains. Going over Articulation, now don't expect a ton from these guys. The rubber suits, they're very restrictive. Also bear in mind that these are my personal copies, so I'm going to be a touch more careful. Starting off with the cowl, it is a fixed rubbery piece of plastic, but there's a double ball peg underneath. Does it give us a bunch of range? Well, let's find out. Forward and back, just a touch, swivel, and a little bit of pivot side to side. The arms will go up on soft ratchets to there. They will go forward and back, also on soft ratchets. Butterfly joint at the shoulder that hinges up and down. Swivel at the bicep underneath the rubbery suit. Ratcheted double bend at the elbow, plus a regular 1/6 scale wrist peg. The torso does crunch forward and back, swivel and pivot. Just a touch. The legs will go forward to there. That is some very ugly bunching. Going out to there. You do have to fight with the suit. Swivel at the upper thigh. Double bend at the knee. Unfortunately, no ratchets, but it is very tight. Then down here for the ankle, because of the fixed boot, you only get swivel. Robin is similar, but he's not identical because, of course, he doesn't have a cowl on. His head sculpt has a fixed neck with a ball peg down below, looking forward to there. Looking back to there, you will have to do a little bit of futzing because the cape moves around. Swivel and pivot side to side. The arms will go up on soft ratchets. They will go forward and back. Butterfly joint at the shoulder that hinges up and down. Swivel at the bicep. Ratcheted double bend at the elbow, going just past 90, plus a regular 1/6 scale wrist peg. The torso does crunch forward on ratchets, swivel and pivot. The legs will go forward on ratchets to there, but they're really fighting me. Going out to there, swivel at the upper thigh, double bend at the knee, but this one springs back down a lot. Then for the boot, once again a fixed boot, so you only get swivel. Moving on to the combined 3 cool and 3 annoying things. The first annoying thing is the way the belt is very free floating. Now I do like a posable belt so I can adjust it, but because the surface of the suit is so slick and the belt is kinda loose, it has a mind of its own, and that goes for both Batman and Robin. Speaking of Robin, the second annoying thing is his cape connection. Now, in order to try and make it look seamless, they have included some yellow fabric underneath, but doesn't really solve the issue. When you pose the head, it rides up very high, and makes it look like he has no neck. I would have preferred some way to keep this down and in position, cause when it is down, he looks way better. The third annoying thing, poor Robin, he gets 2 of the 3 annoying things, but it's his cape, it's pleather. I would have loved if they'd gone with real leather or something else entirely like Batman, but I'm worried that over time, this is going to degrade and flake. The first cool thing is not only do we get moving eyes in the cowl, but we also get swap out lenses. I've never seen Hot Toys do anything like this before, but this is some next level engineering. The second cool thing, and by all means this goes for both of them, it's the suit itself. They are so lush. They're metallic, they're glossy, they're form-fitting, and just standing there, they look so darn real. The third cool thing only kind of works if you get these two together, but Batman comes with so many wonderful toys. That means that even though Robin comes with none, you can accessory share. You can give Robin some batarangs or maybe some of the other pieces, it's entirely up to you. Wrapping up on Batman in his Sonar suit and Robin from Batman Forever. Now we'll wrap up on both of these at the same time, cause to me, they're kind of inseparable. Now if you are interested in picking up just one of them, then hopefully I've given you enough to work with throughout the course of the video. At the end of the day, I love them. End of the review. No, of course not. There's more to discuss. These guys are fantastic, but they've got their drawbacks as well. The bodies are well proportioned, they've got ratchet joints, and they're 2 different sizes. Robin is shorter than Batman. However, the suits, as good as they look, they're made of rubber, which, as you all know, is a nightmare when it comes to posing. If you want to pop these 2 guys in your jazzing Batmobile, it's gonna be a downright struggle. You may not even be able to get them in there. Fingers crossed though, you can. Robin doesn't come with any accessories, but Batman comes with a ton. I did say earlier I would have liked to have seen moving eyes on Robin, but he doesn't really need them because you can move his head, whereas with Batman, you can't. So the moving eyes, they're a godsend. Plus the swap out Sonar lenses. Well done, Hot Toys. You were clearly flexing. Now, I'm really surprised that they made these 2. This movie wasn't well received, but they clearly spotted some cool designs and they ran with it. I'm so glad they did, because in figure format, they work a treat. Now, I got mine, both of them, from toyswonderland.com. Link for that is in the description below. They do have installment plans and a reward system. While you're down there, why not hit that subscribe, bell notification icon, and join button if you like the sound of seeing your name in the end credits of my reviews. Like, comment, and subscribe. We'll catch you in the next video.